When the curtain rose at the Royal Shakespeare Company that night, no one expected what they were about to witness. The man standing in the shadows was supposed to be Sam Heughan, the charming, kind-hearted Scot millions adored from Outlander. But the figure that stepped forward wasn't him. It was something darker, something almost frightening. The audience froze, the air thickened, and when he spoke his first line as Macbeth, the room collectively forgot to breathe. Gone was the gentle soul fans had known for a decade. Before them stood a haunted king, twisted by ambition, guilt, and madness. His eyes burned with something unrecognizable, not performance, but possession. Every movement felt heavy, deliberate, as though he carried centuries of sin on his shoulders. For 2 hours, Sam didn't just play Macbeth, he became the curse itself. The transformation began long before opening night. When Sam accepted the role, even his closest friends were skeptical. "You're the romantic hero," they told him. "The golden man of television. Macbeth is pure darkness, he'll consume you." Sam only smiled. "Maybe it's time I let him." It wasn't ambition that drove him, but a need, a hunger to prove that he was more than a handsome face. He wanted to shatter his image, burn it down, and build something truer from the ashes. The preparation was brutal. Sam spent months isolating himself in the Scottish Highlands, far from London, far from friends, far from everything that reminded him of comfort. He read the play over and over until the words invaded his dreams. He walked the moors alone at night, listening to the wind whisper lines from the text. "Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires." Locals who saw him said he looked like a ghost, pale, gaunt, consumed by thought. When rehearsals began at RSC, the change was immediate. The cast and crew were stunned. Sam's body language was different. He spoke more quietly, moved slower, avoided small talk. One actor said, "It wasn't Sam anymore, it was Macbeth wearing his skin." Even the director, known for his unshakable calm, admitted to feeling unsettled. "I've worked with method actors before," he said, "but this was different." Sam wasn't acting, he was descending. During early rehearsals, Sam refused to break character. When Lady Macbeth called him, "My dearest partner of greatness," he would turn away, trembling as if truly tormented. He often left the stage shaking, drenched in sweat, muttering fragments of lines under his breath. He looked like he hadn't slept in days, a crew member recalled. "We were watching a man unravel, beautifully, terrifyingly." By the time previews began, the rumor mill was spinning. Critics whispered that Heughan had gone too far. Fans worried. Even Katrina Balfe, his longtime co-star, reportedly reached out to check on him. But Sam didn't respond. He was buried in Macbeth's world, a labyrinth of guilt, blood, and destiny. Then came the night of the premiere. The lights dimmed, the crowd hushed, and Sam stepped onto the stage in a heavy, ragged cloak. From his first word, the audience was spellbound. His voice was deeper, rougher, resonating through the theater like a curse. When he looked into Lady Macbeth's eyes and whispered, "We will proceed no further in this business," it was as though the entire RSC held its breath. Halfway through the performance, something extraordinary happened. During the famous dagger soliloquy, "Is this a dagger which I see before me?" the spotlight flickered, catching his face in half-shadow. His expression was raw, trembling between sanity and madness. You could hear a pin drop. People forgot they were watching a play. For a moment, it felt like a real man standing before them, losing his soul in real time. When the final act ended, silence fell. No applause, just stunned quiet, the kind that happens when people are too moved to react. Then, slowly, one person began to clap. Then another. And within seconds, the entire theater erupted. A standing ovation that lasted nearly 10 minutes. Some wept openly. The director bowed his head, visibly shaken. One critic whispered, "That wasn't acting. That was exorcism." Backstage, Sam stood alone for a long time, breathing heavily, makeup smeared, sweat dripping from his temples. He didn't smile, he didn't speak, he just stared at his reflection, barely recognizing the man in the mirror. The Royal Shakespeare Company later released a single statement, Sam Heughan's Macbeth is a haunting revelation. He has redefined the role for a new generation. But those who were there said the praise didn't capture the truth. What they witnessed wasn't a performance. It was a transformation. One that left everyone wondering if Sam Heughan would ever be the same again. After the curtain fell that night, applause still thundered through the theater, echoing like distant storms. Sam stood in the wings, drenched in sweat, his chest heaving as if he had run a marathon through hell. People congratulated him, but he barely heard them. His ears rang with Macbeth's final words, still vibrating inside his skull. The show had ended, but the darkness hadn't left him. It clung to him, heavy, invisible, and alive. In the days that followed, reviews poured in. Critics called his performance devastatingly human, a masterpiece of psychological collapse, the Macbeth of a generation. The Royal Shakespeare Company praised his depth and courage, calling the portrayal a haunting redefinition of ambition and guilt. But behind the glowing headlines, Sam felt hollow. Something had shifted inside him. He had gone so deep into Macbeth's madness that coming back felt impossible. He avoided interviews for a while, retreating to a small flat near the theater. The walls were bare except for one thing. A single line from the play scribbled on paper. "Full of scorpions is my mind." He'd written it the night before opening, and now it stared at him like a prophecy. He slept little, haunted by dreams of blood and betrayal. Even when he woke, he felt Macbeth whispering in the back of his mind. "You invited me in," the voice seemed to say. "Now you'll never be rid of me." Friends noticed the change. His messages grew shorter. His usual humor, the warmth that fans adored, was gone. Katrina reportedly called him after reading an article that described his disturbing emotional immersion. She asked if he was all right. Sam just laughed softly. "Macbeth's fine," he said. "I'm not sure about me." Behind the scenes, the RSC staff began to worry. During one rehearsal, weeks after opening night, Sam froze mid-scene. He stood still for nearly a minute, eyes unfocused. When the director called his name, he didn't answer. Later, he admitted he couldn't tell whether he was still acting or not. "It's like he's living in two worlds," one crew member said. "Sometimes, when he looks at you, you're not sure if he sees you or the ghost of Banquo." The obsession took a toll on his body too. He lost weight, his eyes sunken from sleepless nights. But when he stepped on stage, the transformation was breathtaking, even more intense than before. The audience could feel the torment radiating from him. People described leaving the theater in silence, shaken to the core. One critic wrote, "Heughan doesn't perform Macbeth, he suffers it." And perhaps that was the truth. The more he gave to the role, the more it consumed him. "It's a dangerous kind of beauty," the director confessed. "When you act with that much truth, you risk bleeding for it." After the final show, the RSC held a small private dinner. Sam arrived late, dressed simply, his usual bright energy replaced with quiet stillness. When someone toasted to his brilliance, he smiled faintly but said nothing. Later, one of the producers found him outside, sitting alone in the cold, staring at the Thames. When asked what he was thinking, he replied, "I don't know who I am when I'm not him." That night marked the end of the production, and the beginning of his recovery. Sam took a break from public appearances, disappearing from social media. Rumors spread. Burnout, depression, method acting gone too far. But those close to him said it wasn't breakdown, it was reflection. He had faced a darkness few actors ever dared to explore, and he needed time to climb back out. Months later, when he finally reappeared at a charity event, fans gasped. He looked different, calmer, older, somehow more grounded. When asked about Macbeth, he paused for a long moment before answering. "It broke me," he said quietly. "But it also rebuilt me. I found parts of myself I didn't know existed, and lost a few I'll never get back." He smiled then, a small, weary smile that carried both pride and pain. "I think that's what Shakespeare meant," he continued. "You can't touch darkness without leaving fingerprints on your soul." The Royal Shakespeare Company later released behind-the-scenes footage, a short clip of Sam during rehearsal, eyes closed, whispering to himself, "Let it hurt." It went viral. Fans flooded the comments with admiration and worry in equal measure. Some called him fearless. Others said he had gone too far. But all agreed on one thing. No one had ever seen Macbeth like this before. In the years to come, people would still talk about that performance, not just because of its brilliance, but because of its truth. Sam Heughan had peeled back the layers of a character until he found his own reflection staring back. In doing so, he blurred the line between artist and art, man and monster, light and shadow. And though the stage lights had long gone dark, one thing remained certain: the Royal Shakespeare Company, and everyone who witnessed that haunting transformation, would never forget the night Sam Heughan disappeared, and Macbeth took his place.